Hello, my name is Nick Marine with Marine Plumbing Service. Today I'm going to teach you how to install or replace a pedestal sink. What we're going to be covering today is faucet selection, size requirements, shutting off the water and removing the water supplies, old pedestal removal, installing faucet pop-up on pedestal, setting and leveling new base, mounting top to wall, installing water lines and drainage to the sink, and finally, testing. A few tools and material that you're going to need for the job are a hammer, 4-in-1 screwdriver, a mini saw, caulk gun, razor knife, channel locks, basin wrench, small level, screw gun, finally bucket, sponge, and a few rags. Some miscellaneous materials you may need are a PVC 1.5" P-trap, stainless steel no burst water connectors, and caulk. A few safety precautions you may want to consider are bending your knees due to the weight of the pedestal sink and ensuring the water is fully off. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a 3rd generation master plumber and Georgia's first licensed green plumber. When selecting a product, I choose American Standard. American Standard has been around for 140 years and they make everything from bath, toilets, tubs, and sinks. American Standard has style that works better and it's a name you can trust. So now let's get started and show you how to install a new pedestal sink. Right now we're going to talk about size requirements and faucet selection. This particular sink, as a pedestal sink, is a 4-inch spread faucet. A 4-inch, when they say 4-inch, it's the measurement from one hole to the other is a total measurement of 4 inches. So this particular faucet they call a 4-inch. From hole to hole it's 4 inches. When you're looking at an 8-inch faucet, there'll be a hole off to the left of the faucet out here. There'll be a center hole, and out to the right, which would give you an 8-inch spread faucet. Just make sure that you select the right faucet when you're buying your pedestal. The other thing is you want to make sure when you're measuring your pedestal that you go into the back wall. This one measures 23 inches. So our new one's 24, so we'll be fine. The other sinks can come anywhere from 24, 28, 32 inches. So the bigger sink that you get, be careful because there's going to be more modifications needed on the drain and the water line below. So try and stay close to what you have if you're going to go ahead and swap it out, or if you have a cracked sink or what have you. Manufacturers are now coming out with lots of cabinetry options that are very nice, where you can store toilet paper, cleaning products, things of that nature that are hidden from view. In addition, they're also making different heights where you can get them taller. This particular one is 32 inches. You can get them as high as 36, so less bending on your back. Now that we're done our size requirements, let's talk about shutting off the water and removing the water supply. Let's start by teaching you how to shut off the main water to your home, and then I'll remove the water lines. First thing you want to do is get a rag and a bowl and just place it underneath the water supply that you're turning off in case it starts to leak or drip. Turn the valve in the right clockwise position until you fully turn it until it stops and can no longer turn. Then the water will be off. Next thing we'll do is actually remove the water supply where it connects into the shutoff valve. Once we do that, a little bit of water will come out and the remnants will actually drip into the water bowl that we have, and we have some rags to catch as well. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the actual P-trap. Remove the nuts with our channel locks. There's 2, in this case, 1.5 inch nuts that we're going to turn in the counterclockwise position. Remove the nuts, drop the P-trap with the water. That's the water that keeps the methane gas from entering your home. That's called the trap weir. That water will go into the pail and it will be fully ready to go to the next step. Right now we're going to remove that old pedestal sink. First, let's talk about cutting the caulk around the entire sink. If you don't remove the caulk from the sink, it's going to pull the paint off the wall. You don't want to do that because it'll get deeper than you want to. The caulk will actually go around the top and will go and wrap around the actual apron. So you want to make a really nice razor knife to cut that incision all around. There'll also be mounting screws underneath the sink that they could either be toggle bolts or wood screws. So you'll want a 4-in-1 screwdriver to do that. remove those screws as well. And you'll also, finally at the floor, you'll want to go ahead and take your sharp razor knife and cut an incision around the floor. Once you cut that incision on the caulk around the floor, next you'll see that on some of these sinks you'll see that the top and base are mounted separately, so you want to also ensure that if they are two pieces, you want to cut the caulk in between the two as well and take them out separately. Next, once you remove that, if there's any spots or stains on the floor from the old caulk, you want to scrape it up with a wood scraper. If there is any caulk still stuck to the wall, then I would use a flat scraper and just slowly scrape the residue or the remaining caulk off the wall. As you see here, the pedestal has been removed. Coming up next, we're going to show you how to install an 8-inch spread faucet on a pedestal top. Right now we're going to show you how to install the actual pedestal sink faucet 8-inch spread. As you see behind me, we've taken out the old one. We have this pedestal top on the carpet right now to protect it from chipping the actual china. It's probably a good move to do it, or scratching hardwood floors. I prefer this method just because it's also good on your lower back. I'm going to start with the actual valve stem. I'm going to start on the hot side. We're going to go ahead and start mounting. I've separated the washers. There's a washer on the bottom of the china that pushes against the china. There's a brass nut that compresses so it doesn't chip the china, and there's also one on top. So we're going to go ahead and start with the hot side. You want to make these good and snug, otherwise when you put these handles on and you start putting force on there, you could loosen these up from below, and then you're going to take the whole sink off the wall to tighten it. So do it right the first time. Next step, we're going to go ahead and mount the spout. This is a brass nut. Again, take the base off. There's a rubber washer in here that you want to make sure it stays flat. If you try and put it on there and it's cattywampus, it'll also make it crooked, and it'll also cause us to leak. So you really want to make sure you get this in there. Just take your time with it. So we're going to kind of hand snug this first. The reason I'm holding this in place on my stomach here is we want to make sure that rubber washer stays flat. Okay. Now we're going to put my bracket in here. So what I'm doing is I'm going ahead and tightening this righty-tighty, clockwise. Base and wrench is your plumber's favorite friend here. Now that we've got the spout installed, let's go ahead and start working on the handles. We'll start on the cold side here. There's a ring in here that seals the water out, so you don't have to use putty. Let's go ahead and put that in place. This is your trim. So we'll get this locked in here. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and install the handles now. We'll set them up here. And then there's little set screws here. Vanity covers, I guess you'd call them. Pop this off. Get our screwdriver. Let's drop the screw in. This manufacturer's got H for hot and C for cold, so I'm going to put the hot in, and there's your cold. Hot's always on your left. Just remember, happy camper. Okay, that's it. Now let's start working on the pop-up drain. One thing I do is I actually apply pipe dope to this this one area because it is prone to leak. So let me show you. We're going to push this in from the top. Don't force this. Go nice and easy. Just push that on just like this. All right. Now just make sure this plastic part, the hard plastic, goes next. That keeps the rubber from breaking up. And then we're going to put our actual brass nut. Okay, here's the trick. Teflon pipe dope. just go ahead and take, I do it now because otherwise you get all over your clothes. Just go ahead and take some pipe dope and go ahead and hit this rubber right where it comes against the china. If the china has any imperfections, which is because it's very porous, this will seal the gap and you won't have any leaks. I'm going to hand tighten this as far as I can possibly go. And then I'm going to start using my channel locks. You can see why you want to do all this before you put it in. Makes it a lot easier. Now you can see the speed connect's ready to connect. That's it. Real simple. Now's the good opportunity to go ahead and tie your stainless steel connector, which ties everything together to make everything work. I typically start with the center. You can actually take this, and I call it a figure eight. I kind of come through here, I come around the bottom, and when you have a pedestal sink, the reason why I do this figure eight move here, if you will, it kind of just keeps everything clean and confined to this space and nothing's hanging down here. So we're going to go righty-tighty again. We're putting the basin wrench on, righty-tighty. Nice and easy. Let's go ahead and work on our hot and cold water supplies. I like to use these stainless steel no burst supplies. They're easy and they're dependable. Hand tighten them first, righty-tighty, righty-tighty. Now that we've got our hot and cold water supplies hooked up, let's go ahead and mount this top and base to the wall. As you see behind me, I already have the top and base in place. Let me tell you how I got to this stage. The first thing you want to do is bring your sink base in, or a caddy they call it in this case. We set the furniture in place, we level it, and then we put the top on. We make sure you got a level there because you have to have your sink on all four sides level. So right now we've got a level sink. The next thing we're going to do is we've taken a black marker or a pen and we've marked the holes underneath the back of the pedestal sink so we know where to drill. So we can use our lag bolts or molly bolts. The other thing we want to do is we want to put a good seal around the top of it. I use acrylic silicone around the top to give us a good water seal around the back. We're going to go ahead and get the drainage, and we're just going to take an 1.5 inch P-trap, PVC P-trap. The compression between the nut and fitting is enough that if you give it a good hand tighten, that's all you need. You don't need a big pipe wrench or any go crazy on that thing because it'll seal it very well. Next, let's talk about connecting water supplies. We have already connected on top. We're going to go ahead and connect the bottom portion to the top of the shutoff valves by using a small pair of channel locks and just tighten it righty-tighty to the right until it's nice and snug. We're going to do it on the hot side, and then we're going to also do it on the cold side. And once those two are complete, we're going to go ahead and open up our shutoff valves on both. Again, the shutoff valves, you're going to turn it to the left, repeat that on the hot side, and then we can go ahead and open up our faucet and test for leaks. What I do is I open up the hot and cold, I let them run simultaneously. I'll even close the pop-up drain, fill up the sink halfway, let the water drain out to test your drain. Take a flashlight and just inspect all your joints, your fittings, and everything you connected by hand with your flashlight. Make sure you have no leaks and you're good to go. I hope these tips have helped you installing in your own home, and good luck with your next project.